Hello and welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 331, and this is day 202 of Trump 2.0, which brings us to the 13.8% mark of his current or second administration. So in an effort to drum up support for something called the WNBA, which I understand is a female basketball league for black lesbians with long eyelashes and nails, some people have taken to throwing dildos on the court. Now, I'm not quite sure why, but it's become a thing. It's probably the most attention this league has gotten since, well, like forever. Of course, they showed up for their All-Star game practice wearing those "Pay us what you owe us" shirts, so I guess they're getting paid with dildos. Now, they did arrest one guy for this. I guess the worst they can get him for is disorderly conduct. Maybe they'll ban him from WNBA games for life, which may not, that's probably not a bad thing. It's actually a fringe benefit. But imagine that on your record. You wrote that you were arrested for disorderly conduct, and the employer says, well, "What did you do?" And he says, "Well, I threw a green dildo on the court at a WNBA game." I'd hire the guy on the spot. I don't actually get the controversy. It's sort of like less than what you see at some gay pride parade. Although this gentleman is making some money off the phenomena. And I have to wonder, what type of dildos are they? Yeah. And after they're cleaned off the court, what do they do with them? Do they throw them in the trash? It seems like a waste of perfectly good dildos to me. It's gotten so bad that even President Trump has gotten in on the act. Actually, Trump was on the roof of the White House emulating his idol, according to the left, Adolf Hitler. In reality, he was on the roof of the White House with an architect surveying what needed to be done over his proposed new White House ballroom. Now, can you imagine Joe Biden on the roof of the White House? I'm assuming it's somewhat sloped up there, and Biden had trouble negotiating a flat surface or steps. And the press secretary later explained why they needed this ballroom in the White House, which, by the way, is being paid for with private donations, not tax money. And one of the donors is President Trump. South Park is in the news and drawing the ire of some conservatives for their depictions of Trump, Vance, and even ICE agents in recent episodes. This is some conservatives asking why South Park didn't go after Biden or Harris. Well, to me, for South Park, they were just way too easy targets. Plus, I think they were on hiatus in 2024. And the difference is, a conservative can take a joke better than an incoherent president and a ditzy vice president who became a word salad presidential candidate. And, $1.5 billion, who cares what I don't think they really care what they say. I wouldn't if I had $1.5 billion in my pocket. By the way, remember, and Vance took it all in stride. He laughed about it. And by the way, remember when Tampon Timmy Waltz said Vance was weird? This kind of summarizes that statement. Vance can take a shot and laugh about it. The memes on social media involving J.D. Vance, they're at this stage right now. There's like a J.D. Vance meme reserve that's being filled up. That's kind of funny. So you probably heard about the Democrats in Texas who ran away from the Lone Star State to deny a quorum, so Texas cannot pass a new congressional district map. That map is expected to cost the Democrats 4 to 5 seats in the House come 2026, when most butthurt is Congress critter Jasmine Crockett, the narcissistic, pampered do-nothing who speaks like she's from the ghettos of Dallas. The Russian collusion hoax document dump is still in the news, and Barry O is getting some negative publicity of late. Of course, with the media bestowing a halo over everything Obama, he'll come out smelling like roses. Don't worry about it. It seems like it was all Hillary's idea all along, and Barack went along for the ride. That must have been one hell of a shock in 2016 when Trump knocked off Hillary Clinton. Who saw that coming? But then again, there always was that insurance policy, right? And Adam Schiff is also butthurt over the revelations, but he has his own problems to worry about. Either he's ineligible to represent California or he committed mortgage fraud. So which is it there, Adam? And that's not a hoax, by the way. Yeah, Sirius XM had said that negotiations to keep Howard Stern on the air are at an impasse. I mean, people just don't really listen to him much these days. And then again, when you wish death on everyone who voted for Trump, that tends to happen. Half the voters in America. Howie, it's just yesterday's news. The shock value left you years ago. Retire, be the voice of Alexa or something. Find a new job. Maybe he can go into business with Stephen Colbert. I don't know. By the way, Jimmy Kimmel should be next. The Justice Department interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, who told them she never saw or heard of anything sketchy about now President Trump. And that's creating some panic in Clinton world. Better be careful there, Ghislaine. You might be found hanging in your jail cell one morning. And that Durkalurka Indian dude running for mayor in New York City, seems like he and Elizabeth Warren have some things in common. I expect the woo-woo Indian to endorse the Durkalurka Indian African American soon. And yes, Sydney Sweeney remains in the news. Here she is throwing out the first pitch at a Boston Red Sox game. I think they lost that game 28-3 or something like that against Toronto. She's certainly not a good luck charm. Anyway, on the right is Barack Obama doing the same and wearing those American Eagle mom jeans. Look at him. The president or Sweeney? I go with the chick in the denim cutoffs. And now we know that Sydney Sweeney is truly a white nationalist. She's a, wait for it, registered Republican. Stop the presses. She might also own a German Shepherd named Blondie. As further proof, her brother, also a likely white nationalist because, he's white, made the news because he got a promotion in the Air Force. And there you go, Trent Sweeney. He's on his way to becoming Herman Goering. Like I said previously, it's all jealousy. All those liberals pissing a bitch about Sydney Sweeney are just upset because they don't have her looks and body and, just lose some weight. And I don't think a liberal boycott of American Eagle jeans is really going to have much of an economic effect. In fact, I think their sales are up so far. And kudos to American Eagle for standing by their spokeswoman, because she is a woman, and not bending a knee to liberal mob. The fact is, liberals are losing on so many fronts. No more fat-ass black chicks in jeans commercials. No more funding NPR, PBS. No more foreign aid or transgenders in Ecuador. And all they have left is comparing conservatives to Hitler or Nazis. Like ISIS, the new Gestapo. Detention centers are the new concentration camps. A jeans commercial is a nod to eugenics. And of course, Trump is Hitler. And Elizabeth Warren, by the way, is out there sticking her foot in her mouth about gun control and such. Maybe she should stick to woo-woo Indian rights and self-enrichment. Just stay in your lane, woman, okay? Because guess what? There's more crimes committed by illegal aliens in 1 week than all the mass shootings in the country in a year. And what do we hear from liberals on that fact? Crickets. And speaking of gun control and the Second Amendment, here's a fine young female, not named Sydney Sweeney, but that would be great. Just put Sydney Sweeney with a gun in a commercial. I mean, heads would explode on the left, and one can only fantasize of that commercial. Meanwhile, the war in Gaza continues, and the media is all in on the Palestinian genocide stories. Those poor, downtrodden Hamas terrorists. Here's a piece of advice. Don't start something you can't finish. And there's no such thing as a Palestinian. They're simply Arabs. They were Jordanian before they were called Palestinians. That's the end of story. I mean, are we seriously taking everything Hamas reports as the gospel truth these days? Are we really getting our news from 30-second TikTok videos? Green dildos are more newsworthy than the alleged genocide in Gaza. And this is an actual headline. That's right. Masculinity is crippling society. So is transgender men, which I assume are actually females who think they're men, to the rescue. I mean, I get very confused with the labeling and such. And with football season around the corner, expect to see more of Taylor Swift over the coming months. There it is. Yep, this is the liberal mindset right about now. Cue the music. The world turned upside down. Yeah, people will continue to vote for these knuckleheads as long as they have a D next to their name. And of course, immigration enforcement remains in the news. I understand the Darien Gap down there in Panama is now vacant. There's no one coming here. And illegal crossings at the Mexican border are very, very low. So somebody's doing something right somewhere, right? Anyway, I have one last bit of Second Amendment news that I forgot about, and I present this young woman just so that you know that not all gun-toting conservative women are blonde-haired and blue-eyed. Well, she might have blue eyes, I can't tell. Then again, I'm not exactly looking at her eyes. And that's it for today. Thanks, have a great day, and a more pleasant tomorrow.